You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
Every month or so here on Weekend Sport, we get the benefit of the knowledge and expertise of one of the top coaches and coach mentors in this part of the world, or any part of the world really, Wayne Goldsmith, who's influenced the coaching, thinking and teaching of some of the world's leading athletes, coaches and teams. He's worked with professional sports teams, Olympic athletes and coaches all over the world, but has a real affinity with grassroots coaching as well. Wayne Goldsmith is with us. How are you, Wayne?
I'm going pretty good. My beautiful wife had a knee replacement just 2 weeks ago, and what a fascinating journey it's been. I mean, I cannot believe the progression in medicine that they basically cut off part of your tibia, they cut off part of your femur. She was up and walking on the leg within 10 hours. It was, mate, really remarkable. And just the advances in things like physio, Piney, where the physio comes in via tablet every 2 days, has a look at her knee, has a look at how she walks, has a look at swelling left and right, and gives her exercises, even though he lives 200 kilometres away.
Incredible.
I mean, what a crazy world we live in here. It's an amazing progress in technology, not just in physiotherapy, but of course in coaching.
Incredible, mate. Incredible. Well, my best to your lovely wife.
Thank you.
Let's talk coaches. And I wanted to talk today about the progression from being a grassroots coach to being a professional coach. But in general terms, to start with, why do coaches coach?
I don't know. I mean, there's a whole bunch of really sarcastic answers I could give, like they're gluttons for punishment. They've got a streak of masochism in them. I'm not sure. Look, I think about it all the time. I really do, because I work with coaches every day. And the question I always ask them and ask myself is, why do you do it? And I don't know why, Piney, but I think they're driven to help other people. And I think nurses have probably got that same gene or quality there somewhere, and maybe teachers and members of the police force. I think that some people see that they get meaning and that they find purpose in helping other people. And I think above all, that's what I find. Coaches will say, I do it because I love football, or I do it because I love cricket. All those things are good reasons. But if you dig and go, why do you do it? Inevitably, it comes back to, I'm driven to help other people realise their potential. And I think it's as simple as that.
And I think for I would say the majority of coaches, that is enough. They do it on a volunteer basis. They might help out in a team that their children are involved in, or get brought into it when, hey, there's nobody to coach this team, and would you be able to help out? Yes, I will help out, as you've just outlined. Do you think at some point, in the mind of some coaches, they think to themselves, actually, this is really driving me. I'm getting a buzz out of this. It's ringing my bell. What percentage do you think of coaches actually think to themselves, I might take this further?
Yeah, that is a brilliant question to consider, because it is a big step from saying, I'm a coach, I work with the local under-12 netball team and I really enjoy it, to, I wonder how far I could take this caper. I wonder if I could do this full time. I sit there at my job in the bank, or I sit there at my job all day, or I'm working all day, and I'm not really there. All I'm thinking about is what drills we're going to do tonight and how we're going to play, and who am I going to select for goal attack tonight. Or you start to get to the point where it takes over your life, where you're thinking about it all the time, and you think, well, I might have a go at that. And then what's the next step? I don't know, though. I was trying to think the other day, in preparation for our chat, I was thinking, do I know many coaches who sat around and made a decision, I'm going to be the best in the world, I'm going to coach a gold medalist, I'm going to coach a Premier League team, whatever it might be. You know what? I don't think so. And the phrase I came up with, Piney, was, I don't think too many coaches set out to become great, but I think they coach great every day, and that in turn leads to success. So doesn't matter what level they're at. I think they give their heart and soul and everything to the athletes they're working with in that time and place. And that quality of coaching, even if it's working with the under-10s or working with the 15s, I think that then gives them a platform for progression that they go up and up and up and up. And then there's their passion for it. We know that if you love what you do what you love. So even though it's not the easiest job in the world, then it comes down to if they love it, there's a chance they keep doing it and eventually they could get very good at it.
Do you think coaches are able to plot a career path in the same way that a player might, for example, plan to be an All Black or an athlete plans to be an Olympian? Can aspiring coaches plot a pathway for themselves?
I think they do, and I think some of them are motivated by, well, a whole range of different factors. I do know a few coaches that are in NRL, for example, that when you ask them for their why do they do it, some of them will say, well, I played the game and I wanted to give something back. That's quite often the kickstarter. That's the catalyst, if you like, the little bit of fire in their chest that says, maybe I want to give something back to the game. And then quite often they'll start with a local team, the under-14s, under-15s, and they go, hey, this is pretty good. And then they start to think, I wish I had better athletes. I wish I had more senior players. I wish I could have an environment where I'm coaching at a higher level to see how far I can take this game. And then it starts to gain a bit of more momentum itself, starts to grow. Very, very rarely will you actually meet someone who says, well, I'm going to do 3 years under 15s, I'm going to do 3 years under 18s, and then I'm going to be in the academy program for 5 years. It's very rare. However, if you talk to coaches, they'll tell you that happened in any case, quite often not by accident, but by a consequence of them just being very, very good at each level. And so they got, if you like, some sort of natural promotion. Sometimes it's them driving it. Sometimes it's other people, like people who run other clubs, will contact them and say, we need you right here.
See, this is so similar to players, isn't it, Wayne? Because you hear so many players and coaches talk about process and process and process. If we do this, we do this, we do this. They don't talk about winning the World Cup. They often talk about the things they will do day to day, and the outcome of that is winning the World Cup. It sounds as though it's the same for coaches. If you aspire to be good, if not great every day, then those outcomes will look after themselves.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a very good analogy, Piney. I often say to coaches that the same standards that you apply to the players, take care of yourself, work hard, get better every session, try to learn at the fastest rate possible, have downtime and rest, they apply directly to coaches, to the same concept. And an interesting phrase about sticking to your process, that, if your process is, I love it, I work hard, I give it everything that I've got day to day, I think that accumulates over time and you progress.
There are hundreds of coaches listening from the top of the North Island to the bottom of the South, and they're at various stages. There are some who I'm sure have had their interest piqued by what you're saying here, and whether they aspire to become a professional coach or not. I think most coaches just want to be better each day. So how do you go from being a coach to being a good coach and then a great coach?
Well, it starts with a phrase I really like, Piney, is your rate of learning needs to be equal to or greater than that of the athletes you coach, particularly now where everybody can get the same information on their phones. So I often say to coaches, at the end of sessions, sit in the car or get on your bike or be sitting on the bus or be at home having a quiet beer at the end of the day and asking yourself 3 questions. Did I coach at my best today? Was I as good as I could be? If not, why not? What did I learn from that? Number 2, did I make a difference today? Because the end product of coaching is change. The end product of being a good coach is getting people to change their behaviours, change their actions, because actions change the world. And the third thing I ask coaches to reflect on is, what did I learn today from the athletes that will make me a better coach tomorrow? And it's funny, Piney, that only takes a minute or so to go, was I at my best? If not, why not? What could I do better to help myself prepare and so on? Did I make a difference? Did I touch the heart, the mind, the soul, the spirit? Did I make a difference to an athlete today that somehow inspired them to be better? And then what did I learn today? What did I actually pick up today that will make me better tomorrow. Now, if they commit to that reflection process, if they can connect to that process of looking back and say, how can I learn? What did I learn? How can I learn more? And they do that every day. You can imagine if they're coaching twice a week, 30 weeks a year, that's 60 new things they learn, plus games. They're learning hundreds of things over a matter of years, all helping them to be better at what they do. And then there's a momentum in it. A really big believer in players and coaches in generating their own momentum by the commitment they've got to learning and improvement just a little in everything they do every day.
Challenges, though, obstacles, things that don't go right. Are there common challenges that aspiring coaches face along their journey?
Well, there are. And this morning I've done 2 podcasts, one with Chicago and another one in Australia on the topic of sports and parenting. And an old topic you and I have discussed many times, that it can be what we call coach killers, is that the coaches are giving everything they can to help the kids. Most of them have got a job, a day job anyway, but they spend a lot of their waking time and weekends giving everything they can to the kids. And if they don't manage their parent group well, if they're not communicating effectively with the parent group, if they're not managing the expectations of the parent group, it can be very, very difficult. The other things are things like just the simple things of securing enough space and facilities and equipment to do training and practice. That can be really difficult, the costs involved with that. Then there can be other costs for some coaches in tennis and some of the professional sports that you've got to pay for things like insurance and you've got to pay coaching fees and so there's a direct problem and a challenge there. And mate, one of the big ones for coaches is we talk about sporting widows and sporting widowers, that sometimes you spend so much time giving everything in your heart to other people's children to help them realise their goals, that you end up in a position where you neglect your own life and your own relationships. And I can't tell you how many good coaches I know that will tell you their biggest regret is that even though they've loved helping kids from other families be all they can be, that they regret that they didn't spend enough time with their own and they've paid a price for it. So they're the sort of things that can get in the way. Makes a big difference if you're going to be... I can't tell you how many great coaches I've met over the years around the world who've got wonderful, understanding, supportive partners who get sport, even if they don't know sport and they haven't been great coaches themselves, because of the commitment. A great buddy of mine is an Australian rugby coach who coached in Japan, he coached in Ireland, he coached in England, coached all around the world, and his wife is a remarkable person. And even though they've moved multiple times, the two of them are a great team. And so when he's got to make decisions that's in the best interest of the team, or they move because of the career or chasing the next opportunity, for coaches who've got a supportive, caring, understanding partner, whether they're a male coach or female coach, doesn't matter. If you've got somebody who really gets it and can be your rock behind the scenes when the teams are winning and losing, that's an asset that's priceless. Absolutely.
Can we just finish by, can I finish by just getting your assessment on one of your countrymen, Ange Postecoglou, who, as fate would have it, has turned up as coach of your Premier League side, the side that you follow, Tottenham Hotspur. How do you assess Ange's journey from grassroots coach, coaching kids, coaching at an amateur level to the heights of the Premier League?
It's been a fascinating journey, hasn't it? That some of the things you can say about Ange, which, and I don't know him personally, but some of the things you can observe, and I listen obviously to Tottenham Hotspur TV every morning in the shower, but some of the things you can look at is, coaches will often say there's only one way to know if you're any good, it's win-loss. I don't agree with that. It's, did you make a positive difference where you were? Because sometimes you're in a team with a low budget, poor facilities, not a lot of interest, intense political problems internally. But did you make them better? Did you make an impact on the culture? Did you make an impact on a group of players so that even if your team didn't win, 4 of your players went on and played professionally and successfully? So something you can say about him is everywhere he went, he made a difference. So if you're planning a path to be a professional coach. Just start out with the ambition of what can I do to help these kids get better? How do I improve this culture? How do I make a positive impact on the group? So the first thing with him, everywhere he's gone, from South Melbourne, the Raw, the Victory, Australian youth team, the Yokohama, then Celtic or Celtic, depends on what you believe. Everywhere he's gone, he's made a difference, and now we see that in Spurs. So it's not a spur of the moment, no pun intended. It's not I should put that on a T-shirt, but it's not a one-off. Someone said to me the other day, oh, look, he's only getting results because he's spending so much money. Well, go back and have a look at the money that were available at Brisbane Roar at the time, or Victory. That everywhere he's gone, that he's made a difference regardless of the availability of playing talent and resources and facilities.
Yeah.
The other thing that you notice about him, and this is so important for coaches, your coaching philosophy is vital, that you come up with a philosophy of why you coach and how you want to coach the game. So if you followed his career and you go back to those days with the Roar and the Victory, and I didn't know following much back when he was in South Melbourne, a lot of time before that, but if he's got a way that he thinks the game should be played, and he's unrelenting in his pursuit of building teams who can play that game. And I think this is important for coaches, is have a philosophy about not just why you coach, which could be, I just want to give my heart and soul to see people improve, but have a philosophy about your game, about your sport. So if you're a cricket coach, if your philosophy is, I believe we need to get first day runs really quickly, get at least 300 runs on the first day, that's my belief, because if that happens, I can create a team which will be highly successful in multi-day cricket. All right. Then your selections and your coaching and your training, everything flows around the achievement of achieving 300 runs in one day. If you're a football coach and you believe that the game is about rigid, unbreakable defensive lines where you're going to play 5 at the back, practice will be around not conceding goals and maybe counter-attacking with a counter-attacking punch. But coaches, it's so important that you have a philosophy about you and why you're doing it, but very importantly, what's this game about? What is the game that I think is going to be successful? You know, a great line, Piney, that says, the coaches who win change the game. And it's a wonderful phrase, because for the coaches who've made a big difference, the great ones, they've gone, I think this game is going to be total football, which we know came out of Europe, or it's going to be counter-attack, or it's going to be pressing forward, or it's whatever it's going to be. And they've implemented it, just relentlessly pursued the implementation of that playing philosophy, and they've been proven to be right and be successful. I think where coaches struggle, Piney, is that they don't know why they're doing it. They don't really have a deep understanding of what's driving them, and they've got no game philosophy. They've got no game principle or what I think the game could be. And if you don't know yourself and you don't know where the game should be going, you don't really understand what you're trying to achieve, well, it's unlikely you're going to be successful at it.
Incredible analysis, entertaining, informative, educational, as always, Wayne. Really appreciate you taking the time to give us the benefit of your expertise and your knowledge, my friend. Look forward to doing it again here on Weekend Sport in a month or so.
No worries at all, and I do get a 10% discount on all Spurs equipment. If you'd like to get the same, contact me at any stage. I'm a walking, talking advertisement for the Spurs. But it's funny, isn't it, that I'm desperately hoping they come fourth this year. I don't think I've ever been so excited to wish that a team comes in the top 4, but there you go.
Good on you, Wayne. Thanks indeed. Wayne Goldsmith. You can find him at wgcoaching.com, and he's with us here on Weekend Sport every month or so.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday, or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.